Well, Operation Sindoor is not over yet. It is still going on. There is only a pause button that has been hit. Now, the action on the battlefield may be halted for the moment, but the diplomatic strikes continue. India has made sure that it will go to any extent to make the world realize and how and why Pakistan's state-sponsored terror is hurting not just the subcontinent, but eventually will come out for them as well, and why global powers need to unite against Pakistan to teach the rogue nation a lesson. Now, sources within are saying that India is now planning to send a team to the United Nations Security Council with the latest amount of evidence that is building on Pakistan's complicity with terrorism. The UNSC 1267 Sanctions Committee will be meeting next week, where India is now expected to present evidence on Pakistan's role in aiding and abetting terror on its own turf. Remember, India has pummeled several terror bases in Pakistan, including the headquarters of Lashkar and Jaish, terror hotbeds in Bhavalpur, in Muridke, in Sialkot, in Muzaffarabad. That was also demolished by India's air might.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर कॉन्सेप्चुअलाइज हुआ तो हमारा जो पीछे की कार्रवाई होती है स्पेड वर्क और टारगेट्स को आइडेंटिफाई और एनालाइज करने की कार्रवाई शुरू हो गई थी। मैंने जब स्टेटमेंट दिया तो मैंने बताया कि बहुत सारे थे, हमने 21 दिखाए होंगे और भी हैं, लेकिन वो लिस्ट फिल्टर करते करते 21 तक पहुंची। जो इंट एजेंसीज ने अभी तक असेसमेंट किया है उसमें उन्होंने कहा है कि तकरीबन 100 से ज़्यादा मारे गए हैं।
Well, Pradeep is also with us right now. Pradeep, to the UNSC, because how important would it be as far as the evidence that is now mounted against Pakistan to be presented and to be shown out to the world that this is the true face of Pakistan? But on the other hand, if we try to understand why exactly when it comes to the role, involvement of TRF, that was in particularly removed, and also the kind of pressure politics that has now been played by Pakistan and its all-weather friend China, especially when it comes to the role within the United Nations.
See, Amita, why this will be very important for India, because we have seen that recently how Pakistan, with the help of China, got name of TRF omitted from their press release at United Nations Security Council. So now UNSC Standing Committee is going to meet next week. So India is going to provide them all sort of evidence to prove a point that this TRF is a terror organization, basically a front of Lashkar-e-Toiba that is operated from Pakistan's side, supported by Pakistan's deep state inter-service intelligence and also Pakistan Army. So they will be providing all sort of evidence. The reason is that, see, what Pakistan is trying to do. One, Pakistan is trying to shield TRF. Second, they are trying to prove a point that TRF has nothing to do with Lashkar-e-Toiba. Third, they are trying to convey that TRF is basically an indigenous organization that comprises of freedom fighters from Jammu and Kashmir, and they are fighting against Indian army operation. That's what actually Pakistan is trying to convey them. But reality is that TRF is one of the front of Lashkar-e-Toiba. Basically, Pakistan keeps on changing names. Once Lashkar-e-Toiba was globally designated as terror organization. So what they did, they started rebranding that organization. They started calling it Jamaat-ul-Dawa, as if Jamaat-ul-Dawa was some charity organization, and Hafiz Saeed was Messiah of peace. He has nothing to do with any kind of terror-related activity. They started mainstreaming Hafiz Saeed. Now they have rebranded and got the new name that's called TRF. Why they have chosen the English name? Because they know once they will be calling any organization Lashkar-e-Toiba or Jaish-e-Mohammed, people will get to know around the world that this is a jihadi organization. But by giving it English name, they will prove a point that, see, this is basically an indigenous organization and it has nothing to do with jihadi activity. It's a normal rebellion against India. But India is going to name and shame Pakistan, trying to provide all sort of evidence that how TRF is behind Pahalgam massacre, in which 26 tourists were killed, and in a brutal attack they were identified, and after getting their identification confirmed that they are Hindus, they are non-Muslims, they were targeted, they were killed, and on point blank range. And besides this, they are also going to provide dossier about their other activities, because in the past there had been several killing of Kashmiri Hindus also, non-locals who have been targeted by this TRF organization in shoot and scoot attack, because they had been using the pistols and trying to kill people so that they can generate fear psychosis. So that way they will be naming and shaming Pakistan. Reason is that you must have heard how the Deputy Prime Minister, few days back, he was just patting on his back as if he had done some great deed to get the TRF name omitted from press list, because he knew once TRF name will be in the United Nations
And to
Security
mention,
Council.
as far as the terror organization, the TRF is concerned, right after the Pahalgam terror attack, at least on 2 occasions, it admitted its role and responsibility behind the terror attack. Days after, then there was a lot of pressure built on it, and then decided to give out an announcement saying that we have no involvement whatsoever in Pahalgam terror attack. Their lie, that itself was nailed on that very first admission. Let's in the meantime talk about how India has made Pakistan surrender. Let's talk about the military objective first, because the Prime Minister vowed right after the Pahalgam terror attack, mitti mein mala denge, and that has now become a reality. Operation Sindoor has now delivered. As far as Bahawalpur, Muridke, Muzaffarabad terror dens have been completely decimated. Another, exactly when we speak of the objective that has now been achieved on part of India's resolve when it comes to going right after the terrorists, not only the terrorists but their masterminds as well. The Indus Water Treaty that is linked to cross-border terrorism immediately has been suspended. It's been put in abeyance. The treaty which is in abeyance until cross-border terrorism ends. Pakistan may cry about it. Pakistan may say that they are not getting any water, but they deserve such kind of action. As far as Indus Water Treaty is concerned, Pakistan was already in the breach. Ghar ke ghus ke marenge, the pledge, the psychological objective that has now also taken place, that has also put a lot of harm on Pakistani interest as well, because their own awam, their own people are questioning when it comes to their military and to their government as well, that they cannot take on Bharat's might. Bharat strikes on 10 Pakistani Air Force bases, including in Rawalpindi, where there are military headquarters of Pakistan, have now broken their bone. So as far as when it comes to the military objectives and the objective mainly of launching Operational Sindoor is concerned, all of those objectives have been attained and has been widely successful. Now, in the meantime, when we speak of these military objectives and what we are now learning, reactions that have now been coming in, let's play that out, because mainly people across the border areas as well, though however say that the war or this conflict should have extended for some more time, but they are happy with the kind of resolve that our Indian government and the Indian Defence Forces have been doing, saying that Jai Hind, and this is Jai Hind ki Sena. Now, when we take a look as far as when it comes to reactions have been coming in, there are satellite imagery as well. Well, last evening in the DGMO briefing that was shared of the before and after picture, how it was looking like before when the air bases and the destruction that has now been caused by our precision strikes by our defense forces. Let's listen in first to the reaction coming in.
Our fight was neither with the Pakistani military nor with anybody else who's there on the other side. Our fight was with the terrorists. We neutralized the terrorists that we selected to be neutralized, and thereafter we only maintained the air defense posture.